In today's video, we are going to talk about how do you ever color with your color pencils properly. Like I have these colored pencils as my given type because I mostly use Crayola crayons instead of using any other colored pencils, like the Prismacolors one or any other types of exclusive color pencil brands. Yeah, so when I was watching in these videos, possibly or recently watched like how you can color your artworks by using the colored pencils. While most artists use Prismacolors, while some of the brands, like it looks like a lot easier. They use it's kind of similar from the Crayola ones, like which I have them. So we're gonna start by asking some questions, and maybe I'm gonna answer it on. So the first question is, how do you start coloring at first? So you should ever start when you were making an artwork on a piece of paper. You should ever do it lightly, or you can start with some colors. But I would like to say is you start out by light first, like as it's gonna be layer one. But don't try to pressure yourself, because in other words, pressuring can be, like hardened. It could be rigid on paper. Even though when you made too much, you'll erase, but sometimes it can be, quite pretty much difficult. So you should start up by coloring lightly first. And in the meantime, when you're doing the second layer, as a part of it, the first one is, I would like to say, is the first full solid layer. You can do is a second layer. You can just go for some of the details, like with the shadows. So I would prefer is to start with the shadows first when you're starting with the details, and then you may do the highlights. Well, at least if you were using a lighter color though, or you might be ending up. So you should ever take it slow. You need to start up step by step. So you try to finish the very first layer, like which colors are you gonna start up with to make your artwork right before you use the other ones. The second question is, how do you ever use colors to make a decision for your artwork? So I can just say that if I wanna color something properly, like this one, you see that? Yeah. So this is my unfinished artwork. This one is a cute strawberry that I'm working on. So I just went coloring. Like I started with some lights, and in the meantime, I even used, like, I went for a little bit of details. Like I always started with shadows first. Yeah, because I've just ever been using, like, looking for that from the condensed image that I've recently found it on. So this is the part. Yeah, and I know strawberries are mostly red. So when I'm coloring it, like after my first or second layer, And in the meantime, you can still see the red colors though, even though you might leave some a little bit more of gaps. Yeah, like, for instance, like, because I'm trying to, because I left some gaps because this is the texture of the type of paper I'm using. This is a colored pencil paper, but we're gonna talk about that for quite a bit. Yeah, so I did this, and you can see that side there. I colored it brick red. So I'm gonna try to make this look even more cute. That the way I was turning it out. Yeah. And plus, I went through some details because strawberries have seeds. Well, they are called arachines. The next question is, how do I end up coloring? So you're just gonna probably check when you're coloring with this, or probably something expensive. You're something, expensive, or very specific. You use the types of colors what you've used, and try to color the way as how it should look like, the way how it turns out. So like the strawberry, for example, I just end up by coloring it with red, but leaving of the shadows will be much cool. Plus, like the strawberry shape, it should be curved. Yeah, must be curvy. Like don't want to be any seeing parts of the corners. Yeah. So it should only stay look like up red. And for the highlighted parts, the light parts, I always leave it the same as it was, or maybe from different versions. When you're drawing something cute, you can color it up, like the parts. You can also go like for highlights, it can be white, but some may not be white. However, you might be definitely using a lighter color. Like whether you see it doesn't seem to look like white to you, or probably a bit more specific, quite better than white for the highlights. Yeah, and you can also leave for the shadows. While in realism, so much things, right? Yeah, and it's probably, like the part of my question that I asked you. So for realism, maybe too much textures. Yeah, going for a lot of details. Thus, it takes a very long time. Yeah, so me probably, I'm not kind of good at realism, but I'm just always hoping that if I ever wanted to make my very first realism artwork, yeah, because I'm probably too young for realism, but anyways, I just like this one to be creative. Like all I do is how I is how I do that for. Yeah, something like that. It's pretty cool. I know this question about the tips and the strategies for making your artwork look beautiful when you're using colored pencils is why don't you can try to go in any of these shapes, like how does it want to be, because it takes as it's considered time, like when you're using like with the gradients. Yeah, like you try to make the textures, and sometimes if you want to make gradients as how it's blending. Yeah, like the blending what I taught you from my other video. Yeah, like how you can blend, how to try to blend uh colored pencils. Yeah, so you can always start up is like try maybe using these other colors. That way it can be much faster rather than only one color. Yeah, that is expected for those advanced artists. Yeah, and for the beginners artists, my gonna say is that you're just always gonna be starting up with the basics. And for the last question is, which paper is best to color by using color pencils? So, when I'm coloring, I'm using a colored pencil paper. Like you see, it's this paper has a wooden colored pencil texture form. Like, it's pretty much best and enough worth to try when you were coloring, and it's also best for finished artwork. So for the Bristol paper, it has a very smooth surface. It can be as much as quite as anything as how it is. Yeah, and it feels like it's very soft. It has a comfortable space where mostly artists like used to do that and decide on what's best of their coloring statement, and it's gonna make it tragically look really beautiful. Yeah, so like for beautiful artworks, they use the Bristol paper, not just colored pencils, probably markers, or you can use watercolors. I'm not sure with that. Although, anyways, maybe you use like, non washable art supplies that you're choosing about that. And so for the mixed media paper, seems quite enough, I believe. Yeah. All this part is quite a so-so. Because, I use that for Sharpie markers and even Posca markers. Yeah. So I know the mixed media wet and dry paper, has a vellum surface, and it's actually smooth, like from the Bristol paper. Although Bristol paper is smoother than the mixed media paper, or I'm not sure what the textures are. Maybe they're similar, I guess. So at least when you're an artist and you want to decide on what it makes you feel easier, that how you feel comfortable with, yep, just let me know. And if you have any other questions recently about how do you use, like, methods of, what type of methods of when you are trying to use with color pencils, yeah, or write them down in the comments below. And thank you guys for watching. I hope I can see you guys again soon.